There's a place in the far northwestern edge of the United States where an entire industrial empire still stands frozen in time, as if the people who built it simply vanished in the middle of work and never came back. A place where giant red buildings rise against glaciers and mountain peaks like something too impossible to be real. A place so remote, so isolated, and so perfectly preserved by ice and silence that walking through it feels less like visiting history and more like stepping inside a paused moment the world somehow forgot to unfreeze. That place is the Kennecott Mines National Historic Landmark, located in the state of Alaska, on the far northwestern side of the United States of America, on the North American continent, deep inside Wrangell St. Elias National Park. And what makes Kennecott so unsettling is this: it was never supposed to be abandoned. It was built to dominate. Back in the early 1900s, the American industrial economy was scaling fast. Copper had become one of the most valuable resources on Earth. It powered electrical systems, communication networks, transportation infrastructure, machinery, and the expansion of modern civilization itself. And buried high in the icy mountains of Alaska was one of the richest copper deposits ever discovered. The scale was almost unbelievable. The ore hidden beneath these mountains was so pure and so profitable that investors immediately understood its potential. It wasn't just a mining opportunity, it was a gold mine disguised as copper. And so one of the most ambitious industrial projects in American history was launched. Engineers, workers, financiers, and planners came together to build something extraordinary in one of the harshest environments on Earth. They constructed an entire mining town in the Alaskan wilderness, not just a few buildings, an entire, fully operational industrial ecosystem. Massive processing plants were raised from timber and steel. Boarding houses were built for workers. Warehouses, offices, schools, hospitals, stores, and recreation halls followed. Then came the railroad. Hundreds of miles of rail lines were built through brutal terrain to transport copper from this remote, frozen world to the rest of the country. The logistics were insane. Avalanches, sub-zero temperatures, towering glaciers, unpredictable mountain weather, isolation that could kill even experienced workers. But none of it stopped them, because the copper output made it worth everything. At its peak, Kennecott became one of the richest copper mining operations in the world. Money flowed in fast. The mines produced enormous quantities of high-grade copper ore that generated staggering profits. Workers lived hard but productive lives. The town operated with discipline and purpose. Everything was optimized for extraction. Every building, machine, and process had one objective: pull wealth from the mountain. And for years it worked flawlessly. The industrial machine scaled exactly as planned. But like every system built around finite resources, Kennecott had an expiration date hidden inside its success. The mountain was rich, but it wasn't infinite. As years passed, the richest ore bodies began to thin. Extraction costs increased. Operational efficiency started slipping. Profit margins tightened. And then the inevitable happened. The numbers no longer worked. The resource that had justified this impossible town was running out. By the late 1930s, the company made its decision. Operations would shut down. Production would stop. Workers would leave. The industrial pulse that had once defined Kennecott would end. And it ended almost overnight. The shutdown was fast and brutally efficient. Workers packed belongings. Equipment was abandoned. Buildings were left standing. Rail systems stopped moving. And then the silence came. Not gradual silence, instant silence. One day, this was one of the most productive industrial sites in North America. The next, it was empty. And because of Alaska's remote location and freezing climate, something strange happened. Time slowed down. Unlike abandoned places in warmer regions where nature rapidly consumes everything, Kennecott was preserved by cold. The dry mountain air slowed decay. The isolation protected it from demolition and redevelopment. The buildings remained standing. Machinery stayed where it had been left. Rooms still looked as if workers might return at any moment. It became a perfect industrial snapshot, a complete system frozen mid-operation. And that's what makes visiting Kennecott so surreal today. Walking through the site feels impossible. The giant red mill building towers over the valley like an industrial cathedral. Its windows stare across glaciers and mountain ranges as if still waiting for smoke to rise from active machinery. Inside, equipment remains exactly where it was abandoned. Conveyor systems, ore chutes, mechanical components, processing rooms, massive industrial structures built with precision and confidence. Everything still carries the energy of purpose, even though no one has worked there for nearly a century. And then there are the surrounding mountains. This is what makes Kennecott visually unforgettable. Most abandoned industrial towns feel swallowed by decay. Kennecott feels protected by nature's scale. It sits beneath towering, snow-covered peaks and ancient glaciers, so enormous they make the industrial complex look small, almost temporary. And maybe that's the deeper message here. Human ambition always feels permanent while it's happening, but nature plays the long game. The people who built Kennecott believed they had conquered this wilderness. They engineered roads through impossible terrain, built rail systems across glaciers, extracted millions in wealth from the earth itself. For a while, it looked like total victory. But nature waited. The copper diminished. The economics shifted. The system collapsed. And the mountains remained exactly where they had always been. Unmoved, unimpressed, patient. That's what Kennecott quietly teaches every visitor. No matter how advanced a system becomes, it remains temporary if it depends entirely on extraction. The moment the resource disappears, everything built around it begins to lose relevance. This is more than mining history. It's a blueprint for understanding collapse. Entire economies today still depend on finite resources, energy systems, industrial sectors, infrastructure models, supply chains. History says they all carry expiration dates if adaptation never happens. Kennecott is proof. It scaled beautifully. It performed exactly as designed. And it still failed because its foundation was depletion. Yet somehow, failure isn't what you feel most when standing there. You feel awe, because the preservation is extraordinary. Today, the Kennecott Mines National Historic Landmark has become one of the most remarkable historical preservation sites in North America. Visitors travel deep into Alaska to walk through its buildings, study its systems, and experience something almost impossible to replicate anywhere else. An industrial ghost town frozen so perfectly that history feels present tense. It doesn't feel ruined. It feels paused. And maybe that's why it stays with people long after they leave, because Kennecott forces a rare kind of reflection. It makes you think about progress, about ambition, about how much humanity is willing to build in pursuit of value, and about how quickly even the most powerful systems can stop moving once the resource beneath them disappears. Today, it stands in Alaska, on the northwestern side of the United States of America, on the North American continent, surrounded by wilderness older than civilization itself. Silent, massive, frozen in time, still standing as one of the greatest industrial ghosts the modern world has ever created. And if you stand there long enough beneath those red walls and white mountains, listening to the wind move through empty windows, it almost feels like the mine is still working somewhere deep below the ice, waiting for the world to remember why it was built in the first place.